I'm Tom Morrow. My playoff hopes are slipping through.
I'm Sean McClellan, and my playoff hopes have slipped through since week 6.
I'm at Manno, and though I won in fantasy, I don't really feel like I truly won.
And I'm Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin, and I got the easiest win in my fantasy this week.
Hello and welcome back to BMB's Primetime Fantasy Report for Week 12 in the NFL. This past week, I lost by 51 points. Last week, I mentioned Watson and Fuller putting up more than 50 combined on Thanksgiving. Well, guys, you didn't believe me. It went pretty well on Thanksgiving Day, but not Sunday. The rest of my team decided to take a week off, the last thing I needed. I'm now 7-5, and this week is a must-win week for me.
Yeah, Tom, but at least 9 players on your team aren't questionable. I have 9 players on my 16-man roster that are questionable for next week. Names like Lamar Jackson, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton are currently on my bench. At least Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, and Taysom Hill could get me some points.
This week, I lost to Manno in what wasn't a total blowout. My best player that has continued to help my team is Antonio Gibson, who put up 36.6 fantasy points. If only I was making the playoffs, he would have helped so much.
Speaking of the playoffs, that race continues to rage on at full seed. Let's start with what we know. I'm locked into the first seed, and with five teams, including Clue. I'm starting that again. Clue, not cute. I said Clue. Okay, ready? Speaking of the playoffs, that race continues to rage on at full speed. Let's start with what we know. I'm locked into the first seed, and 5 teams, including Q, have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Okay, you didn't have to rub it in.
Sorry that I only tell it how I see it. Now, remember what I said that I didn't feel like a winner? Here's why. Because the Louisville Bolts started Chase Claypool over Juju Smith-Schuster, they lost to the Scranton Stranglers, which means all signs are pointing to me having to verse Scranton and Derrick Henry for some of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Scranton will most likely win this week versus the Long Island Racers, so let's assume they get in. That leaves 2 spots left for either Finn, Tom, and the Brooklyn Bandits, the only team to beat me. And all 3 of them are on upset alert this week. For me to escape King Henry's wrath, I need Scranton to win and one of the 3 previously mentioned teams to lose.
Manno, stop complaining. At least you're 11-1 and in the playoffs.
But I'm basically 12-1. This week, I'm playing who you just played, Finn, the Cali Cows, who are in the spirit of giving this holiday season after dropping all their players, and now they only have Patrick Mahomes.
Starting the top player list of top scoring fantasy players is the Atlanta Falcons defense, who put up 28 points. After only letting up 2 field goals in Sunday's blowout against the Raiders, what did you expect?
From the same team, kicker Younghoe Koo scored 21 fantasy points. Just like the defense, he was a major help to the Falcons' win.
From the 3-7-1 Eagles, tight end Dallas Goedert put up 20.5 fantasy points for your team and mine, but he's only been averaging 11.7 points this season. Maybe if Carson Wentz knew how to throw to his own team, he'd get some more points.
No surprise here. The best wide receiver was Tyreek Hill, who scored 57.9 points. Hill was on fire his week against the Bucs. He was scoring so much, he had to call help for the Bucs. He has been Mahomes' number 1 target this season, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
Scoring 38.5 fantasy points was running back Derrick Henry, who has been a great help to your team and one of the best running backs who is not injured this season.
Hey, don't go jinxing Henry, Finn.
I might have to play him in the playoffs this year.
Anyway, for the second week in a row, the top scoring quarterback was Deshaun Watson with 33.12 points. Unfortunately, this looks like the final time we'll see him here, since some great players are now hurt or suspended, but who knows?
Now, who won in Week 12? First one was one of the 2 Thanksgiving blowouts who featured the Texans defeated the Lions 41-25. Deshaun Watson had another phenomenal game. Watson threw 318 yards and found Will Fuller in the end zone twice. Those guys were a big help to my fantasy team. The loss of Will Fuller will hurt. For you guys that don't know, Will Fuller is suspended for the use of PEDs for 6 games.
In the second Thanksgiving blowout, the Washington football team, or should we say Antonio Gibson, defeated the Dallas Cowboys 41-16. Gibson was able to score 36 for your fantasy team, and he really helped me out this week.
Yep, that's 36 points and a losing effort for Antonio Gibson and Q's Mean Machine. Coming back from a bye week, the Buffalo Bills were able to beat Justin Herbert. They're returning Austin Eckler and the Chargers. The Bills brought out their rendition of the Philly special again, and it worked to perfection again.
The Titans are now first place in the AFC South Division with their win over the Colts. Derrick Henry pulled off another amazing game by scoring 3 rushing touchdowns.
In a close battle, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Panthers only by 1 point. Cousins was able to throw 3 touchdown passes and 307 passing yards. The major takeaway was Dalvin Cook's leg injury. If you have him on your roster, keep up with the injury and his status.
Oh, believe me, I am. He's been the main piece to my 11-and-run, possibly 12-and-run to the 1 seed in the playoffs, and I'm extremely concerned for Dalvin Cook. I need him to come up clutch in the playoffs, where I'll probably be playing Derrick Henry.
Now, the Jets aren't the only team eliminated from the playoffs. Joining that list is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who lost to the Cleveland Browns, who are 8-3. That pretty much sums 2020 out.
Now in first place in the very close NFC East Division, my New York Giants are officially in first place after their win over the Bengals. Daniel Jones' injury isn't major, and he is expected to play against Seattle next week.
Hey, yo, Finn, I think you messed it up. You should have said NFC least. So funny.
That was such a horrible joke, and I actually thought you were going to say he messed up.
Never count the Pats out. We got a huge win in bold and all caps this past Sunday against Arizona. I said a couple of weeks back that we need to pull off an upset to stay alive, and although it was very ugly, we got it on a 50-yard field goal by Nick Folk to lift us over the Cardinals 20-17.
Yep, Jets lost. Next. Skip it.
Moving over to Atlanta, the Falcons destroyed the Raiders 43-6. I'm extremely shocked at this. A team that beat Kansas City in Week 5, one of the best offenses that the Chiefs have, beating them, and then they come off in this game, losing to the Falcons, a huge upset. The Raiders are lucky to even get 2 field goals with that Falcons defense. Highest defense in fantasy this week, pulled off a great win. They improved to 4-7.
The third blowout this week saw the Saints dominate the Broncos. We can't be too hard on Denver because undrafted wide receiver Kendall Hinton played quarterback for the first time with 0 preparation. Give credit where credit is due.
In an upset win, the 49ers defeated the Rams 23-20 with a game-winning field goal from Robbie Gould. The Rams are now right behind the Seahawks, but are still very much alive in the playoff hunt.
In one of the most entertaining games this week, saw Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill run all over the Bucs defense in the first half. Mahomes threw 462 yards and 3 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill, who was back flipping into the end zone. Oh, and if you were playing Tyreek Hill in fantasy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Manno, I was, and we see how that turned out. Well, let's just say our producer, Sean Petraitis, was not happy with the Bears on Sunday night. The Bears lost to their division rival Packers for the 100th time in history. The score in that one was 41-25. Aaron Rodgers also became the 11th quarterback in NFL history with 50,000 passing yards.
And no shocker, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 23-17. Carson Wentz threw a costly interception late in the game, and Wentz is still currently leading the league in interceptions with 14. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, has been a great player for your fantasy team. Shockingly, the Eagles still have a chance to make the playoffs in the NFC East Division.
And on Wednesday afternoon, yep, you heard me right, Wednesday afternoon, we finally saw the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Baltimore Ravens after the game got postponed multiple times. The Steelers keep their undefeated alive, closing out the series with the Ravens with the W, even after the Ravens tried to mount a comeback, led by Trace McSorley, who threw it on a dime like y'all ain't even trying, with a 70-yard bomb to Hollywood Brown. Could Pittsburgh go all the way? Looks like it could happen, with the only concerning game for the Steelers be against the Bills, which could be a great game next week, but they take on the Washington football team next Monday at 5 o'clock. These COVID times are really weird for these NFL teams.
That will wrap up this week's edition of BMB Primetime's Fantasy Report. I've been Finnegan Corcoran-Dolan, and the Giants are definitely taking the NFC East.
I've met Manno, and I definitely hope that doesn't happen.
I've been Sean McClellan, and I'm not going to talk about the Jets anymore.
I'm Tom Morrow, and we'll see you next week for Week 13 and the NFL. Have a great day, everybody.